I detest the Beaster Bunny. There has never been a movie which has made me feel such throbbing irritation due to its incompetence as a movie before. But this takes the cake. If I'm being honest, I'm hesitant to even call this piece of human feces a movie, because doing so would imply that it's the same medium as something like American Psycho or A Clockwork Orange. Those two movies, whatever you think of them, I think they're amazing personally, but that's my subjective opinion, had genuine love and care put into them by everyone involved. They are pieces of art, and the Beaster Bunny is just not. It's a piece of floppy shit that's been showered with sprinkles to make it look better than it is, with a flashy cover that's an absolute lie, by the way, and a monster that looks like something from an old, very bad episode of Doctor Who. Actually, scratch that. It looks even worse than that. And the old Doctor Who's were made back when they couldn't do proper CGI effects or good practical effects, so that's really saying something. I guess throughout this review, I'll call it something more degrading, like a product or a thing, because I cannot call it a movie or a film. The Beaster Bunny, also known as Beasterday, Here Comes Pete and Cotton Hell, haha, is the worst piece of shit I have ever had the displeasure of exposing to my eyeballs, including Two Girls, One Cup. It's a 2014 product that was re-released in 2017 and shipped off to the UK for some unknown reason. You Yanks just love shoving your shit where it doesn't belong, don't ya? We give you Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and this is how you fucking repay us? Well, the fact it was re-released in the UK is how I got a hold of it anyway. I'm gonna set a scene for you guys. I was searching through Amazon, like I usually do, looking for some nice cheap horror flicks to buy, because I haven't seen any new ones for a hot minute. I searched and I found a few that looked kinda decent. So I gathered some in my basket and I was about to check out and buy them until I stumbled upon The Beaster Bunny. The first film I had ever seen online that was a combination of a horror monster film and an Easter-orientated one. I had never seen an Easter horror movie before, since it's a very obscure thing to make, but I figured, hey, it couldn't be that bad. The cover looked pretty interesting, and even if the artwork exaggerated how good the monster would look in the movie, which I'm very used to because I watch a lot of terrible monster movies, it would probably be on the same level of quality as something like Sharknado. Which, even though it's bad in terms of CGI, is still not the worst thing on the planet, and the movie itself is still quite entertaining despite how stupid it is. So why not try it out? What's the worst that could happen, huh? So, I waited a few days and the package arrives. I was instantly very suspicious of the DVD cover since there were no screenshots of the actual film on the back, and the two bunnies on the front and the back of the case looked nothing alike. Now, that day, two other movies had also arrived in my mail. Lava Rantulas and Claws. Both are pretty bad films in terms of CGI, and have very bizarre and nonsensical plots. But screenshots of the actual movies were still on the back of the DVD cases, so at least I knew what I was in for in terms of quality. However, Beaster Bunny was hiding its effects and camera work from any unsuspecting sod who happened to actually pay money for it, much like myself. This was worrying, but I tried not to let it deter me. So, me and my brother sat down one Sunday afternoon and decided to check it out. He likes bad movies, I like bad movies, this seemed bad, we had alcohol, it was coming up to being a pleasant experience for both of us. So, what were we introduced to? Oh no. You're probably wondering what third grade media project I've just shown you, but I'm sorry to say, this is the Beaster Bunny. No, I'm not joking. Me and my brother watched the whole thing. This is a real product that exists and you can actually purchase on Amazon like I did. As you guys can probably imagine, the millisecond that I discovered this thing, and what was hidden within the disc, I went searching for some kind of explanation as to why it exists. Because no one on this planet would attempt to make a movie with this kind of monster that genuinely cared about the project, and would allow it to turn out like this, unless they were in a bad situation location-wise or something. I figured, hey, maybe they just had a bad budget. Maybe they only had a couple $1,000s or something. So I went looking and found that the budget for the Beaster Bunny was estimated to be $150,000? What? Look, that's not a lot in terms of big budget movies, I get that. But it's still a large amount of funding to work with. To put that into perspective, the Blair Witch Project, one of the most renowned and impressive low-budget horror movies to date, had a budget of $60,000. It's very effective in the way the budget is used, and the scares in the film feel genuine and decent, and the acting is really good. Everything in the movie isn't just good for the budget that it had, it's just good in general. It's a really amazing movie, and you forget the fact that it's low budget because it hides that fact well. I know that some people are probably going to say that the Blair Witch Project is an unfair comparison to the Beaster Bunny because it's a found footage movie and isn't similar in terms of themes or events, so here's another example. The Evil Dead, which has similar storyline progressions to the Beaster Bunny in that something is murdering a bunch of hot people that they need to defeat, had a budget of $350,000. That's only $200,000 more than the Beaster Bunny. In movie terms, that's really not a lot, even in the 1980s when Evil Dead came out. Especially when you consider that Nightmare on Elm Street, one of my favourite horror movies of all time, had a budget of $1.8 million, and it came out 3 years after Evil Dead in 1984. But Misa, why are you going on about the budget? It's not the most important aspect of a movie. Well, random audience member, I'm going on about budgets because I know the defense that most people give the Beaster Bunny is that it's a parody, low-budget, fun movie that should be forgiven for being such low quality because it was made on a micro-budget. And I'm here to say, no. Movies can't have that excuse of, we were on a low budget for being bad, when the budget isn't the only thing that's terrible about it. A bad budget can be noticeable, and it's very noticeable in this thing, but if you're a creative person with knowledge of filmmaking, it should be possible and even easy to hide the fact that you haven't got a big budget. And this is one of the things that I hate about the Beaster Bunny. It doesn't care. Sometimes a movie can be horrendous and still be entertaining because the filmmakers still give a damn about the product they're producing. As incompetent and hilariously terrible as The Room is, one of the reasons it's become so famous and known as one of the best bad movies of all time is that Tommy Wiseau actually gave a damn about the movie. He put love, care and hard work into the film, and the fact that it turned out so lackluster is what makes the film as a whole so funny. Tommy tried to make something great, and he's taken the fact that people think his movie is bad well, and because of that, The Room is still fun to watch. But no one cared when producing The Beaster Bunny, and that's so evident when watching it. The actors didn't care, the director didn't care, the writer didn't care, the editor didn't care, no one cared. And if none of the people who worked on the project care, then why should I be positive when reviewing what they made? I mean, I guess I shouldn't care about it either, but I want to show you guys how terrible it is because people need to know to stay away from it. I also want to point out that many people are probably going to defend this thing by saying it's not supposed to be taken seriously as a movie, and that me hating it and getting as annoyed at it as I am is just plain unreasonable. Well, I mean, you're right, but shut up, this is my channel and I'll get angry at whatever I want. If these jokers are allowed to produce something so freaking terrible, then I'm allowed to express my utter disgust for it. Freedom of speech, motherfuckers. Wait, I live in England, we don't have that. Shit. Anyway, so, why was this commodity made? Well, from what I could find, the writer Spencer Snugg was intending for it to be a parody of the Easter song Here Comes Peter Cottontail, created in 1971. Honestly, I think that's in name only because I see no resemblance to the song and the events of the film except for the fact that they're both about Easter and bunnies. Honestly, he could have just said, I wanted to make an Easter horror film since no one's done it before, and that would have been a normal explanation, but whatever, I guess. If you can call the film a parody of something, then I guess it will sell better and people will defend it more because it's a parody. But that's not going to work with me, sonny boy. So, there's the reason it was created, but why did director Zack Snugg, yes, the director and the writer are apparently brothers, want to help out, other than, you know, being the brother of the writer? I mean, what experience did he have? Well, everyone, you'll be thrilled to know that this guy isn't some chump who hasn't worked on films before. He's been on the set of many genuine movie blockbusters such as Transformers 2, Meet the Parents 2, and Spider-Man 2. a lot of sequels here, but they're actual proper movies made by well-known studios with decent budgets. So, how did he contribute to these films? As an electrician? Oh man. Okay, so these guys don't have a great track record when it comes to films that they've worked on, or even their reasons for making this thing. It evidently wasn't anyone's vision or anything, but what about the actors and actresses? Surely they cared about the project and they actually wanted to act in it, right? Well, most of them are in porn, and they're in movies where they have to show their bodies off to get anywhere, and when you sit down and watch the film, product, that fact is really obvious. None of them really act throughout the running time, they just kind of say lines and act like they need carers. And no, that's not me trying to be edgy, they all genuinely act as though they need to be looked after.
What the fuck?
To say that the acting is bad would be to assume that there was actual acting involved in the making of the Beaster Bunny. The people who attempt to act within it are all just saying lines and hoping for the best, I guess. Everything is either overacted or underacted, there isn't a middle ground, and unlike Circus Kane, where there was at least one actor that seemed to be somewhat passable in terms of acting, there's nobody like that in the Beaster Bunny. To put it bluntly, everyone just sucks in this monstrosity. Some of the actors seem to be enjoying themselves, but enjoying yourselves on set doesn't mean that your acting is good. The villain from Circus Kane was enjoying himself, but his acting was also kind of decent. The two are not synonymous with each other. So anyway, let's get into the actual story of this thing, because, you know, it was a very well thought out plot, and I simply cannot wait to talk about it. Which is why I've been avoiding it for this long so far in the video. I really don't want to talk about it. But hey, I'm the one who decided to make a channel talking about bad movies, so I guess this is my punishment. Wait a minute. Uncorked Entertainment. The same Uncorked Entertainment that distributed Circus Kane. What the fuck? How is it that I've reviewed 2 movies so far on the channel? Only 2, and they've both been distributed by the same company. What does this organisation have against the movie industry? Why would they tarnish the art form by distributing these crappy movies? So, the movie opens with a marriage between an older gentleman and a woman who is evidently only marrying him for his money, because, girl, you could do better. And younger. A very funny entertainer guy, who's trying really hard to be Chris Rock, presents the son of the groom to give a speech.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Alright, good? Hey, one more time for our band, huh? Black Defendants, you're gonna love them.
Oh, come on guys, you're actually going to use the audio from his physical microphone rather than a boom mic that might, oh I don't know, be better quality and have a pop filter? You can clearly hear the pop noises when he speaks into that thing. Even I have a fucking pop filter. You can get them for like £3. Hell, you can put a fucking sock on top of that thing. It would be a lot better than having to put up with this audio.
Give me love, everybody, Mr. Tom Klaus, everybody, right?
Everybody, Mr. Tom Claus, everybody. You want to try that line again? Nope. Okay, cool.
I just saw Mom last week. I saw her at the Days Inn. She's doing just fine. Hope you'd be happy about that. She's still living in a hotel. Probably turning tricks for money.
Wait. Wait, your mum is selling her body to get by, and you're aware of this and haven't taken her in? What kind of shitty son are you? You can't just sit there and be angry at your dad for not doing anything when your mum is selling her body and you're not doing anything either, you turd.
You know, I just wanted to mention, you spent a lot of money on this wedding debt, and thanks for exhausting your bank account, and I will be forever in student loan debt for the rest of my life.
Okay, mate. I don't know what kind of weddings you've been to in the past, but your dad did not spend that much on this wedding. It looks like it's in a rented community hall. You can rent those for a couple £100 in the UK. So this guy continues his speech until he walks out and leaves the wedding.
I should have worn a condom, you little shit.
Okay, that line was kind of funny. Despite the fact that this dude can easily get a taxi, since there's no way on God's earth that this wedding is taking place that far away from his place that the only way to get home is hitchhiking. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's like he wants to be Jeffrey Dahmer. He tries to find anyone stupid enough to drive him home when he gets covered in water and his hand falls off. That was not supposed to be blood, come the fuck on. I have no idea how a giant rabbit would even do that, but I guess it doesn't matter since nothing in this product makes even a shred of sense. Anyway, we get some very obvious stock footage, which happens quite a lot in the movie, by the way, when we're introduced to the crazy dog catcher character. I'm not going to be naming most of the characters in this thing because, to be honest, I don't know any of their names because I genuinely don't care what their names are, especially this character. When you see the way that this guy acts, you're going to understand why I really don't like him.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Oh no, Big Ed's back.
You're a dick.
Why does this thing have so many connections to Circus Kane? Wait a minute, if he's a dog catcher, then why is he trying to catch a toy rabbit and not a toy dog? If this is supposed to be foreshadowing, then it's not very good foreshadowing since it doesn't really make sense that he'd be doing this.
You fucking talking to me?
He didn't even catch the fucking thing! So, we're on to the next plot line with this father and this daughter character. Okay, so honestly guys, despite the awful acting, terrible effects, wince-worthy story, and utterly dreadful looking monster, this to me is the most annoying aspect of the Beaster Bunny. Now, that may sound very absurd, but hear me out. The reason that this is the most annoying part of this product, despite everything that I've just listed, is that this plotline could have actually been, at the very least, competent. The basic dynamic of these two characters is that this girl's dad is sick and tired of her constantly choosing a new career path every couple of months and asking him to pay for her to pursue them when she gives them up every few months and moves on to something else. And every time she does this, she expects for him to give her a handout. She's one of those people who thinks that she's a talented artist in some kind of way despite not having any discernible skills in any kind of potential artistic profession, and she just wants to be eternally in education so she doesn't have to get a real job. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is the kind of father-daughter relationship that could have been genuinely interesting to have in a horror monster movie. It's not something that I've seen come up in a lot of films before, and it would have made the story a lot more intriguing. Honestly, I think I probably could have watched this shitty excuse for a movie and not have hated it as much if at least this plotline was developed on. But it's really not. I just don't care about these two characters at all. I mean, this girl is the most spoiled bratty bitch on the face of the earth, and as much as I 100% agree with the dad, he's such a grumpy, weird old fart that I don't particularly care if he helps his daughter or not. I don't like either character, and it's a wasted opportunity to create characters that the audience could actually care about the fates of, but then not develop on them. I mean, the issue that they have isn't even resolved between the two of them by the end of the movie, and their last conversation is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Like, what the fuck is this? Why even put this side story in the movie if you're not going to do anything with it? What was the point? Just plop this bitch into the dog catcher society so she has to catch the rabbit eventually and leave it at that. You don't need to write this convoluted storyline about her and her father having a bad relationship. Why put any effort in at all? Do you lot see why I hate this movie so much? And we haven't even gotten to the part where the bunny actually turns up. You're fucking kidding me. I mean, I have to give this movie props because it doesn't fuck about. It's only 9 minutes in and they've already shown the supposed killer rabbit. Most films tend to wait a little bit to show the monsters in their movies to create a little suspense, but I guess this one just wanted to get it over and done with and reveal where their budget went. Seriously, I refuse to believe this film had a $150,000 budget. But alright, let's talk about the creature. Because I refuse to call it anything but a creature, because this is not a rabbit. I keep referring to other terrible monster movies to point out how terrible this particular one is, even in comparison to movies that no one would watch and genuinely say were good films. But I need to bring this up. As bad as Sharknado is, the sharks look like sharks. As bad as Claws is, the crabs look like crabs. This thing is not a rabbit. I could forgive how fraudulent the front and back cover of the film is and how cool and scary the rabbit looks on both of them if the rabbit within the final product actually looked like a fucking rabbit. But it looks like a deformed ferret that's trying to walk on two legs but struggling. I do not see how anyone could guess that this thing was a rabbit. And speaking of, is it humping the fucking house? Like, what's happening? The bunny, despite this being the first scene with him in, which is supposed to expose how dangerous and bloodthirsty he is, doesn't actually do anything to this woman, really. She gets hit by a car, which somehow manages to take her arm clean off. And then when the creature does go to attack her, which is only implied, her eye pops out, without the rabbit even doing anything. And the effects that follow just make me feel sad. You know those moments where you're halfway through scripting a video and you just kind of want to give up on it because what you're talking about is so stupid that it makes your brain hurt? Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So we're taken to the dog catcher association called Dog Catchers in the Rye. That pun isn't even clever, let alone funny in any capacity. For some reason, there are quite a lot of dog catchers in this city, despite us as audience members never having seen a single dog throughout the first 10 minutes of this shit. This many dog catchers would imply that dogs being rabid and rampant in the streets is an epidemic of some kind in this town, but there doesn't really seem to be a need for this many dog catchers.
Just three things, Chief. What is the dog's street name, if any, race, and is he or she a previous offender?
Doug, I don't know this shit. Gee whiz, what do you expect? It's a rabid gray Labrador with a foamy mouth.
God, the difference in audio is so fucking distracting. So, there's this award for the best dog catcher, and the guy who loves shoving various objects down his pants didn't win despite thinking he should, even though he's nuts, and he's super jealous of the dude that did win, who just doesn't really seem too bothered, to be honest. Yet again, this is another kind of interesting dynamic that could have been expanded on, but was wasted, and I'm not going to rant about it for 2 hours again, so let's just move on.
Damn rabbits.
Oh god, I forgot about this scene. This girl's scenes are so full of nudity, I'm gonna have to censor the hell out of them. I'm not gonna spend too long on this because I don't want to have to edit that. Basically, this porn star gets killed by the creature, but not before getting chased naked by it to show off those big old titties. Now, I'm not complaining here, right? She has a nice chest, but if I wanted to stare at massive breasts, I'd go on Pornhub. I don't need this in my monster movie. Oh, wait, this isn't a movie. I mean, I don't need this in my monster garbage. If you guys ever get the chance to watch this one particular scene, I would, because it just shows that the guy who directed this should be a porn director and not a movie director. With this kind of budget, he can make some kind of good porno or something, but he shouldn't be making movies. Next, we have a scene with the father and daughter where the father reasonably says that the girl needs to get a job, otherwise she's not going to be able to stay with him. But the script clearly wants the audience to side with the daughter for some reason. To be honest, she's a little shit and she deserves to be kicked out.
What is it now?
I'm gonna be a poet.
You're already a failed actress, a failed opera singer, a failed painter, and now you want to be a failed poet.
I'm an artist, I'm a flower, and I need you to water me with your wallet.
Once again, this scene could have been developed on, but it wasn't really, so we're moving on. After that, we have another death scene. Honestly, I could go through every single death scene within this pile of excrement and explain how every actor is clearly in porn, how the monster looks horrendous, how the acting is bad, how the deaths make less sense than in Circus Kane, how every scene brings me closer and closer to murdering something. But we'd be here for hours, so I'm just going to skim past them. So, we're introduced to the mayor character, the most irritating human on the planet. I'm talking like way more irritating than Big Ed kind of irritating. He's irresponsible and corrupt to the point where he should really be a cartoon character. He'd never be the mayor of a town in a million years in real life. But this is not set in real life. This product is clearly set in an alternate universe where everyone is fucking retarded. Basically, he has an Easter event coming up and he wants it to go well so that he can get funding from the townspeople or something or other. It doesn't really matter. Do you care? Nah, that's what I thought. Moving on. Death scene number 4 with porn star number 785. I think this death scene was supposed to be some kind of commentary on how obsessed people are with their phones or something. But honestly, I don't think anyone watching this monstrosity would genuinely care that much about a commentary on society. So the bitchy girl ends up getting a job with the dog catchers, and the insane dude ends up liking her for no reason really, other than she's pretty. But she's not interested because, well, he's fucking nuts. Cue another death scene of a woman climbing a rock or some shit. I just do not care about these characters at all. We find out that the insane guy is afraid of loud noises in one of the most overacted scenes I have ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, no biggie.
I said I don't want to talk about it!
Okay, you broke me down, damn it!
Rightfully so, the girl ridicules him for it, and he runs away crying. For fuck's sake, can these guys just cool it with the nudity? Fucking hell. Like, I get it, monster movies have nudity in them, but this is just overkill. We're basically just watching porn without the sex at this point. So, the mayor is back, and is even more corrupt than usual.
In the last several days, we've had 5 separate massacres, including the Amish.
Fuck the Amish, man. What about the other people? Are they Democrats or Republicans?
This movie is trying so fucking hard to be funny, and it's physically painful. You hear that? That's how much I give a fuck about this film. We're introduced to another character who's supposed to be one of the dog catchers.
This is Roger. Dog catchers in the rye. Your dog is on the prowl. Our price is to bring him back won't make you howl.
Surely that's such a waste of time. If you wanted your dog found, you wouldn't want to listen to someone say a catchy rhyming tagline to their company. You'd want them to be on the case and find your dog. Anyway, he goes looking for a squirrel. Wait a minute, I thought these guys were trying to catch dogs. Do you know what? Whatever. He goes looking for a squirrel, and surprise, surprise, he ends up finding the creature instead. How the fuck does he not see it? It's right there. How mentally challenged do you have to be to genuinely believe that your footsteps are making loud noises while being right next to a 30-foot tall monster? Which, by the way, is in his peripheral vision. They end up near a football goal and suddenly this ignoramus decides to try and battle it, just for no reason at all.
You and me, Bunny! Sudden death!
Okay, that was pretty funny. Long story short, he gets eaten.
Edmonton will rise again!
I have no words. The dog catchers mourn for him, and the crazy one thinks that animals are rising up.
It's finally happening.
What?
Have you ever read Animal Farm?
Oi! Don't bring Animal Farm into this. Why are you guys trying to ruin good literature?
What are you doing?
Well, if it is squirrels, I gotta protect my nuts.
Can I just stop reviewing right now? Didn't realise the Colossal Titan was in this piece of shit. So, for some reason, this mayor character is desperate for there to be an Easter Day celebration. Probably so that the townsfolk can spend money, so even though there's a rabid animal going around killing everyone, somehow he refuses to acknowledge that, and he just kind of pretends it's not happening. And this is all so that he can just get money from the townspeople, even though, you know, taxes are a thing. Considering how corrupt he is, I'm sure he pockets a large amount of the taxes from the people that he collects it from.
Doug, can I ask you a question?
Shh. Quiet.
No, I just have a quick question.
What?
Did you lot hear that car horn?
What?
Real professional, guys. Couldn't retake that? Nah, that would take too much time and effort. We don't give a fuck about our movie. Pfft. These two go in a separate direction, and while the bitchy girl is reading Philosophy of the Mind, fuck off. She is not reading that. No one in this film has an IQ over 50. No fucking way. She'd be reading 50 Shades of Grey or some shit. Anyway, the creature spits her foot out, she freaks out, and she runs away. And even though the insane guy was the one who was convinced that their colleague had been eaten by wolves, this is his response when she explains what happened.
I saw a severed foot!
Well, maybe someone just lost it.
Who needs consistency in their characters, am I right? You know, I'd hate to do this, but the plot of this is so fucking repetitive that I'm just gonna skim through to the end because I really need to finish this fucking video. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. So another death scene happens, the mayor keeps being scummy, Hector, the dude who the insane guy hates, gets killed by the monster, and it looks just as bad as you would imagine it. Jesus, why does everything in this film look so bad? Everyone's sad about it and mourns him, so the insane dude decides that he's gonna catch the animals that's been killing people around the town. Mainly so that he can get into the other girl's pants, but it's probably not gonna work. Anyway, he ends up seeing the creature and heads back to the dog catchers to tell them what's going on and... Wait a minute. Is that the mic person? Did they actually catch the person holding the mic in the frame? And not only that, they zoomed in on her. What the... Oh my god. As you can imagine, no one believes him and he ends up running around the town like a madman talking about the apocalypse and trying to warn people. But because the story is so ridiculous, he ends up being thrown into a mental institution. And believe it or not, it happens to be right next to the Easter event that the mayor is desperate to have. It's not a very convenient place for a mental institution to be. But, surprise surprise, I bet you guys didn't see this coming. The creature ends up attacking the event, the mayor is killed, and for once, the ridiculousness of the death actually made me laugh when I first saw it. Anyway, the girl grabs some guns, uses the insane guy for bait, kills the monster very easily, roll credits.
How do you think the rabbit got so big?
Fuck you, movie. The Beaster Bunny sucks! It sucks so hard that I can't actually formulate words to accurately describe how much it sucks other than just saying, it sucks! I have never been more in shock as to how incompetent a film can be. Or should I say, an attempt at a film, because like I said before, this isn't a film! I refuse to call this thing a film. It's a fucking abomination! Everyone involved in the production of the Beaster Bunny needs to be medicated for even thinking that this could be a film. If this were a passion project for someone who genuinely cared about it, I'd be a lot kinder with how I speak about the Beaster Bunny. But I refuse to believe that anyone cares about this thing. It's an incompetent, moronic waste of time, and I demand an apology for spending precious hours of my life that I will never get back watching and analysing this piece of shit. I would not recommend this movie to anybody. Not even people who like bad movies, like myself, should watch it. It's garbage. It's pointless garbage.